Hello everybody, I am Troliko Borgohe and in association with my team members Kemisa Adams and Andrew Green, I would like to present before you the strategic plan developed for hydrocarbon exploration company Hexco and PW Absorbance. This is as part of Management Strategy in Energy Industry course of MBA Energy Leadership track at Texas A&M University, Texarkana. The content of the presentation is like this: overview, environmental analysis, resource analysis, that is self-appraisal, assumption and criteria of the planning, mission statement, objectives and goals, formulation of strategy, preparation of long-range plan, implementation of the long-range plan and the short-range plan, appraisal of results and recycling of the planning process, and at the end, a summary. Starting with overview, Hexco is an E&P company engaged in hydrocarbon exploration and production in India with selective presence in overseas projects. The company has a legacy of more than 100 years of E&P in Northeast India. During 2012 and 13, the company earned a total revenue of $1.9 billion and profit after tax of $598 million. The average oil and gas production from the operational areas of India attained 3.7 MMT and 2640 million metric standard cubic meter during 2012 and 13. This is about 9% of the indigenous crude oil production and 8% of the indigenous gas production. The total acreage holding of the company are 86,600 square kilometer and 33,460 square kilometer in India and overseas respectively as major and minor partners or in consortium. The company made significant discoveries in recent year, 2012 and 13. 8 discoveries in India, 2 in Rajasthan and 1 in Gabon from exploratory drilling as operator. The energy industry, especially the E&P sector, is subjected to challenges and uncertainties, and Hexco as a company is no exception. Complexity in geology, uncertainty of price, political issues, economic growth uncertainties, transportation of resources to various geographic locations, industry-academia gap, competition and high capex operations because of newer, tough geographies are some of the major challenges and uncertainty areas for the global E&P sector. As such, a strong strategic plan is required to mitigate these concerns and provide a way for continual growth and stability. Strategic plan framework. The strategic plan is devised with the following framework. Number 1. Assumptions about the petroleum industry, especially shale resource exploitation scenarios. List of probable relevant factors in a long-range horizon, that is about 10 to 15 years. Identifying the major goals. A set of strategic objectives for 3 to 5 years in each goal areas. A set of strategies for next 1 to 3 years to achieve each goal area. Here is an environmental analysis of global E&P sector within which Hexco operates. The hydrocarbon industry has undergone significant change in terms of its demand for energy in some of the developing countries, which in turn is opening up new frontiers for demand and exploration. The key drivers behind the growing demand for energy are population expansion and growth in income. The projected world population in the year 2030 is placed at 8.3 billion, which means an additional 1.3 billion people will need energy in a world where the income is roughly double the level of 2011. This 1.3 billion people is about 20% of today's population. The increase in primary energy consumption by 2030 is placed at 36%. The adjacent figure describes that most of the growth is expected from non-OECD Asia, accounting for about 60% of the total increase in energy demand. The success of US shale resource exploration is one of the major events that is changing the face of the world, and most likely it will change it forever. According to EIA, the US is projected to become the largest global oil producer, and it will overtake Saudi Arabia by 2020. With an estimated reserve of about 58 billion barrels of shale oil and 665 trillion cubic feet of shale gas, the US is occupying second and fourth positions respectively amongst the countries with shale oil and gas. Because of the recent developments in shale oil and gas in US, the country is in an advantageous position over others. Hence, in terms of infrastructure and exploration activity, the US will continue to lead in the foreseeable future. Hexco believes that there are enormous opportunities in shale oil and gas exploration for the company for at least about 3 decades. Again, companies will require to handle a large volume of water in shale oil and gas as exploration intensifies in these resources. Considering all the aspects of environment, compliance to government policies, technology, and economics, as a strategic move, Hexco purchased new water recovery technology from PW Absorbents for treatment of produced water from its acreages. Resource analysis. Hexco is engaged mainly in E&P activities in Northeast India. The company is fully integrated and is capable of core activities of E&P as well as services including drilling, production, pipeline, engineering services, wireline logging, transportation, etc. The company has a workforce of about 8,000, out of which 1,500 are qualified graduate geoscientists, engineers, and administrative personnel. At the same time, diminishing experienced personnel, increased target depths of exploration, difficult logistics in new exploration areas, and stiff competition for exploration blocks in India are some of the challenges for the company. At the same time, with the present strength, the company is ready for ventures outside its traditional boundary. An analysis on strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats or SWOT analysis was carried out, and the results are as shown here. Strengths. Hexco is a well-established company. Hexco is an integrated E&P company. Hexco has got expertise in exploration evaluation. On the other hand, weaknesses are limited overseas experiences, limited R&D because of more importance in operational activities, limited human resources in hydrocarbons. Opportunities are strong growth potential for E&P. US shale plays is identified as one of the biggest opportunities. A vast geographic area in India is yet to be explored, and there is an opportunity to lead the change in energy resource and production in India. Threats are price volatility in oil and gas. Oil price during 2002 to 2010 and gas price after 2008 are good examples of such kind of volatility. Environmental blocks associated with exploration. There are many blocks which are sensitive environmentally, and operation in those areas are really problematic, and there are a lot of issues regarding the environmental impact on these kind of ecosystems. National and environmental laws and regulations that hinder national and international immersions, progress or trade inside India and overseas as well. The strategy here emphasizes that the strength of PW absorbent is going to offset some of the weaknesses of Hexco in future. The strategy is prepared based on some assumptions, and this part will be covered by my team member Kemisa. And at this juncture, I hand over the mic to Kemisa. Kemisa, please.
Thank you, Trilaka, for that introduction. Again, my name is Kamisha Adams, and I will be continuing with the assumptions and criteria for Hexco. Hexco plans to become one of the significant organizations which will work towards efficient and better methods for exploration. The following are some of the assumptions on the overall future of the industry. Hydrocarbon will remain the major energy source in coming decades. The E&P companies will become more global. Oil and gas prices will continue to fluctuate. Environmental regulations will be more stringent. Protection of water resources will be important for livelihood. Technology will play a major role. The speed of changes in technology will increase. Innovations will definitely continue. Unconventional plays will become conventional. Shale exploration will gain momentum and maturity all over the globe. Water treatment technologies will increasingly influence shale oil and gas exploration. Companies with foresight will be able to mitigate risks and lead the industry. Any one of the growth scenarios is possible in low, medium, or high growth, and companies must prepare themselves for these scenarios. Our mission is to lead the world's energy market as an environmentally conscious and responsible horizontal learning organization, poised to deliver sustainable energy products through next-generation technology and human assets that addresses the ever-changing global energy landscape, providing value and commitment to its shareholders and the environment. Our purpose is to maintain pace as one of the fastest-growing sustainable energy companies, ever fortifying our global presence while providing value to our shareholders. We envision to be the fastest-growing energy company with the highest profitability, to satisfy the customers with quality products and services at competitive prices, to nurture initiatives, innovations, and aspirations with best practices as a learning organization, to remain committed, honest, integrity-rich, and trustworthy, to increase employee pride and team building, to be fully committed to safety, health, and environment, to be a responsible corporate citizen deeply committed to socioeconomic development in its area of operations. Determination of goals. In coming up with our goals, we had to set aside or implement two main objectives. The first one is to increase oil and gas production volume by new ventures in shale and oil gas. How will we do so? First, we will need to evaluate the shale plays and reserves through exploratory and appraisal drilling. We will seek to acquire additional acreage with the potential to yield 18,000 barrels per day in the Eagle Ford shale plays located in Texas. Second, we want to produce 1 million barrels of oil or oil equivalent of gas by 2016. Our second objective is to create sustainable, environmentally friendly infrastructure for long-term production of shale oil and gas. How will we meet that objective? First, we'll need to develop technologically advanced infrastructure in association with PWA absorbent produced water treatment of Eagle Ford shale oil and gas by December 2016. And second, to create demand-driven solutions and options for the new water treatment technologies within the domestic U.S. oil and gas E&P market. So now that we've set our goals and objectives in place, now we must come up with a strategy. In order to attain corporate strategy, these are what we came up with. We will enter in a financial agreement with Famfa Oil and Chevron, whereby both companies will hold a 40% share of common stock in Hexco in exchange for a $25 billion investment in Hexco expansion, operations, and infrastructure. Second, these investment dollars will be used to acquire quality, inspected new and refurbished drilling equipment, land leasing agreements, pipeline agreements, and commercial vehicles. An additional 1,000 employees and contract workers will be added to our employment or payroll over the course of 5 years to address the human resources need that will propel future expansion and corporate goals. PWA Absorbents will provide personnel, technology, and additional financial resources that support the joint market share goals and profit share agreements in place with HEXCO. Then we will reserve the right to enter into other future mergers and market agreements with vendors and/or exploration companies that support our overall corporate goals and profitability, ensuring that we will always be appropriately adapting in an environmentally friendly way with sound strategic adjustments that bring dollar value to our shareholders and security to our employees. Thank you. I will now pass the mic over to Andrew Green, and he will continue with our long-range plan.
This is Andrew Green, one of the partners. During the first year, we plan to drill an additional 15 wells with a production of about 2,000 barrels a day by December 2014. We want to also enter into a strategic technological arrangement with PWA Absorbents for water treatment of both our rigs, as well as we want to try to contract with other exploration and production companies to help them address their water or produce water issues. During the second year, we want to reach 30 wells of drilling capability at about 7,000 barrels per day by December 2015. By year 3, we're going to be drilling about 55 wells with a production at 18,000 million barrels a day by December 2016. Still following along with our arrangement with PWA Absorbents to expand the market share that we have of water treatment of produced water. HEXCO will enter into a financial arrangement with Fanful Oil and Chevron. Currently, Fanful Oil and Chevron already have an arrangement in Nigeria, so these companies are used to working together. We'll just be an additional company that will be merged into this relationship. In exchange, they'll get a 40% share of common stock in HEXCO for a $25 billion capital investment, which will be used for expansion, various operations, and the appropriate infrastructure. In addition, we're going to look to add about 1,000 employees and contract workers over the course of 5 years to address the human resource needs that will parallel the future expansion and the corporate goals of HEXCO. We'll be consulting with GG, drilling, well stimulation, and hydraulic fracturing companies, as well as contracting out turnkey drilling to various organizations. Also, Fanful Oil and Chevron will be addressing various needs that we'll have, as they have a special interest in our success. The implementation of our long-term plans, the 3-year goals, and our short-term range, the 1 year, will be taken up by engaging an expert consultancy firm in each and every stage, every 6 months of our plan. The company executives will carry out brainstorming sessions to plan each and every detail of the short-range and long-range plans. The brainstorming sessions and implementation of the projects will be carried out in the following steps. First, the brainstorming of the long-range plans. Second, the brainstorming of the short-range plans. Third, a compilation of the viable plans for engaging expert consultancy firms. Fourth, an implementation of projects will be done after considering all the pros and cons and associated uncertainties and taking into consideration the tools to migrate any deviation or risk. In each of the 6-month intervals, we will hold the option to modify the plan based on feedback we're getting from actual exploration and production, as well as water treatment efficiency Hexaco will put in place a system to closely monitor the implementation of the strategic plan. The monitoring will be carried out by two fronts: monitoring the operations and the monitoring of the progress in the research and development. You can look at the chart we have here. In operations, we have our consultancy study, our application for acreage, our contracts, that includes land contracts, looking at the drilling monitoring, and this will be digital. We'll be able to monitor from a remote site. We'll be looking at hydraulic fracturing, the water disposal and water treatment, effectiveness and profitability for a long-term expansion. And the R&D parameters, we'll be looking at the infrastructure and equipment, manpower, pilot testing, especially increased testing on EMP efficiency as well as water treatment, field implementation, collaborative research. This could be done and might be done with university-based organizations as well as corporate and government organizations. Continuous improvement and environmental friendly innovations. Monitoring systems. We'll be looking at daily progress reports, both operations and R&D. We'll be looking at weekly progress reports. We'll review weekly target and achievement goals. We'll be looking at monthly progress reports, review monthly target and achievement goals. We look at quarterly progress reports and quarterly target and achievement goals. We'll reassess, again, at each 6 months, we'll be reassessing and adding additional resources if needed, as well as taking additional resources that are being wasted or not utilized properly and addressing them in other areas. Half-yearly progress reports, of course, the 6-month period. We'll be reviewing those half or 6-month yearly targets and achievement. We'll be reassessing, as I said. We'll also have our yearly progress reports that we'll look at. Each of the goal is to not let anything get away from us, that each step of the way, we want to make sure we're monitoring and making the appropriate adjustments, because we have the employees to keep in mind, because we want to keep them gainfully employed, and we also have the stockholders and investors to keep in mind, because we want to have a great return on investment, and we want to be efficient as a company. We don't want to spend blindly, we want to spend effectively. Hexaco USA, a subsidiary of Hexaco, has framed a strategic plan to take the company towards a high growth path by establishing equity hydrocarbon production in the U.S. The company plans to achieve growth by giving greater focus in the following two strategic areas: an increase in the stake in shale resource exploration in the U.S. and an increase in the technological collaboration in water treatment and disposal of produced water for shale oil and gas wells in the U.S. with PWA absorbance technology. The company's strategy is based on a few assumptions, such as unconventional plays will become conventional. Shale resource exploration will increasingly gain momentum and maturity all over the globe in the coming decades, and that water treatment technologies will increasingly influence shale oil gas exploration. The company plans acquisition of assets in Eagle Ford, identified as one of the preferred shale plays by Hexo based on our analysis and third-party analysis. And planned production from this play is placed at 18,000 barrels per day of oil and oil equivalents of gas. The company will set up a water treatment plant for its operations in Eagle Ford, as well as to cater to the produced water from a few other companies that we see as targets for profitable relationships here and in the future. The growth obtained after implementing these two critical plans is expected to open up avenues for further quantum jumps in growth. The plan outline here is a broad outline and may be revised from time to time to address the uncertainties associated with the future EMP industry in America and abroad. And final, I want to acknowledge the board of directors, the distinguished Dr. Larry Davis and Dr. Susan Smith Nash for their priceless contribution to what we're doing here and what we're trying to do in the future. We want to recognize the project analysts, Kamisha Adams, Trayukla Borgohain, and Andrew Green, myself. I want to thank you guys for your time. We look forward to launching this company and being profitable both now and in the future.
Would like to take this time to answer any questions you may have. Here's to profitable years to come. Thank you very much.